that has his signature all over it, because like I said earlier, you're only as good as from the top down. And when I was here in Philadelphia, only reason why we didn't win the Super Bowl is because our ownership was horrible. You know, we had a good head coach, but the front office was the worst. And so that was my first experience in pro sports, was Philadelphia Eagles. And when I left Philadelphia and went to Miami, you know, I was like, the front office was outstanding. You know, and head coach, outstanding. The offense, outstanding. Defense, not so much. So that's why we didn't win a Super Bowl, you know, there. But I was thinking, if I could have just put the two together, if I could have got the talent that I played with in Philadelphia, along with the ownership that I had in Miami, we'd have won 3 or 4 Super Bowls in a row. There's no question in my mind. So how do you overcome that? Well, we overcame that in Philadelphia, you know, simply because everybody was on the same page, you know, so we had as much success as we can get outside of the ownership. Everybody was on the same page. It was about teamwork. You know, it wasn't about, you know, individual stats. You know, I was a, you know, quote unquote running back, but I didn't get a chance to run the ball as much as I did in college and be able to set all those records. I had to sacrifice. You know, they asked me to, you know, Keith, we need you to be a blocker. We need you to be a pass receiver out of the backfield. And I was willing to put me aside, you know, and put my individual efforts aside, you know, for the greater for the team. And that's, you know, it carried over, you know, in the business. Everybody wants to be the drum major, wants to be in front of the band and get all the accolades. But we all know it's the people behind the band, behind the drum major makes the band very successful. Everybody has to pitch in. Everybody has to know their roles. And that's what Bill Parcells really, you know, that's something I really learned from him. Because he, you know, we was having a conversation, and I was sitting there watching how makeup of his football team. And he was saying, well, it's like this. You got A, B's, and C's. I said, okay, what's A, B, C's? He said, well, the A's are your quote-unquote superstar players on your roster. You know, you only have a couple of those. You know, when he was at the New York Giants, you know, he had Lawrence Taylor. You know, he had Harry Carson. So based on, you know, those A players, and then, you know, we're just talking about football, but it correlates in the business too. Your A players have got to be playing the A at all times. Then you got your B players. The B players are your starters, the people, you know, the starting lineup. And you got some A, but your B players have always got to play B. They got to be, you know, consistent. They got to play that way each and every day, each and every Sunday. Yeah, but your B players can play like an A. Sometimes they don't play like a superstar. You know, they had a great week, and you're like, man, he's just like, you know, my superstar just gave me a great effort. But I'm expecting great effort anyway because he's a star. And then you got your C players. Those are your special teamers, the backups. Sometimes when the backup is called upon to start, he's got to come in and we're expecting, you know, a B type of performance, or at least a C, at least something steady, average. You know, you got to give me that. I'm not talking about D's and F's because those guys don't make the team, nor should they make the business. be a part of your staff. You know, you got a D, that's 60%. F is failing. You don't need those guys. Those guys